Hypnosis. How to use NLP and hypnotic techniques to get impressive results. Written by Norton Raven. Narrated by Stephen Lowe. Chapter 1. Before talking about hypnosis, what's NLP? NLP, or the Neuro-Linguistic Programming, is an education program that involves both the human senses and their communication methods. This can really help individuals with developing new behavior and better habits. This all comes down to the following: learning prejudiced experiences. It can also be important to finding out how individuals create their experiences in their mind and how they can try to develop skills that can make their lifestyles better and increase their happiness. That neuroprogramming is special when you compare it to various studies regarding behavior of human beings, since it is focused on duplicating and learning talents. What this means is that mastering the NLP program can aid individuals in developing themselves into more determined and responsible people. It can enhance their mental and physical talents with a mindset change. NLP includes crucial components in fabricating necessary human experiences regarding language and neurology. It also includes planned thoughts and a learning of the psychological cognitive practices behind the behavior. This way, you'll get better insights into the concepts of your own inner self. It also gives you the necessary skills and tools for the growth of conditions of excellence in people. Yet it likewise sets up a system of giving way to presumptions and thoughts about what people are and what communication truly is. NLP is about self-discovery, which allows you to further determine in which niche you will succeed. In everyone's life, it is relatively unavoidable to be doubtful which career you like, which profession you will learn, which job you will have, or what business you will start. In those examples, NLP can matter a lot for you. Since it can lead you to discover your actual goal or purpose in this world, some individuals usually stick to their profession or their careers, even when they are not all the way happy and satisfied with it. And of course, this is because they need, or they think they need, the job to survive in tough economic conditions. Through NLP, an individual can also realize that anyone can achieve whatever he or she wants as long as they are determined, skilled, and motivated enough. When they realize this, they can follow a step-by-step process and reverse engineer how they want to achieve what they want. Keep the word follow in mind. That's the road to success. Follow your dreams, your heart, and your passion. Now, this doesn't mean you should just do what you want. Sometimes a detour is needed. I hate it when people are all following their passion in their careers when that's not what gets you to become successful. Let's say, for example, that you want to be a comic book artist, like I've dreamt a lot of times. Yes, you could start drawing comic books and hope it just takes off. But what if the market is too competitive, the demand is low, or there are other obstacles in the way? Then maybe it is better to do something else that makes you a lot of money, until you become so financially free that you can give it a try, or perhaps to do it in your free time after job hours. That's what I mean. Once you like what you're doing, then you will surely gain the success that you wanted to gain, some people say. But that's a lie. Just because you like something doesn't mean you can make money with it. It's not that simple. Generally, the main reason why most individuals stick to their job is the fact that there are people around them who are making them. And sometimes that's needed, but nowadays there are so many opportunities that aren't related to being an employee. Probably their families and their inspirations in life. But if a certain individual knows how to correctly communicate with everybody around them, then they shouldn't have to do what society dictates. Try to find ways to make it work. That's my best advice about that. NLP is a program that can help in career choice, as well as anything else people want in life. If you're stuck in your box, your virtual jail, then you won't feel fulfillment. This way, you can never explain your side, and you cannot even do the real things that you wanted to do. Instead, you will prefer things that are not exactly your choice, but the choice of other people for you. In this case, you are more likely living your life for other people, which is not fair at all. You can't just live your life for others, unless you're actively, selfishly serving them and finding fulfillment in that. Chapter 2. What is hypnosis? Hypnosis refers to the ability of changing thoughts and behavioral patterns with a trance state of mind. It involves the human subconscious mind. Hypnosis experts normally use hypnosis on a subconscious level to help people develop self-esteem, remove addictions, and grant them the power to do what they couldn't before. A classic example is the fear of flying, which can be overcome through the right kind of hypnosis. Another example could be that you developed an addiction to smoking and you think and believe that you cannot get over it. Then you might need hypnosis so that you can develop the other side of your thoughts and beliefs more positively. Actually, hypnosis has been a great help to individuals, especially to the ones who find it very hard to develop skills and characteristics by themselves. This can be a good way for them to prove that everything in the world could be possible if you want to make it happen. However, this is not to suggest that a person should always rely on hypnosis if they really want to develop better personal qualities. Hypnosis is an alternative, that's all. It does not mean that this is vital or always necessary in acquiring a certain attribute. There are several factors that you should know about hypnosis, and these are, among others, hypnosis should be done with the help of an expert or professional therapist. If you think that you need this to become better at something or quit doing something, then you have to solely give your trust to an expert. Never consider being hypnotized by a person who is not an expert at hypnotism. Always keep in mind that it involves both your intellect and your whole being. Therefore, you have to be careful enough when you consider hypnotism to solve your problems. They could be solved without it. There are various theories that make attempts to classify hypnosis. Some look at its intrinsic workings, and others try to look for other classifications so as to dismiss its existence. The most widely accepted explanation of hypnosis is that it is focused on a particular word or person and has a powerful effect on the intellect that leads to individual surrender. This way, people's intellect can be greatly focused on accomplishing what they want to achieve despite the pitfalls and challenges that are in their way. Hypnosis is broadly used in today's modern times in treating certain problems. Addiction is just one example. It is quite hard for almost everyone to break through an addiction, unless, of course, they go to rehab centers or take some other steps to fix the problem. This can also be used in developing self-esteem and can greatly help you show your true inner self. There are people who do not have the courage to show or share their problems or weaknesses because of various reasons. They could find it hard to connect with others, or they have limiting beliefs which keep them from showing others their true colors. This means they do not have the guts to show their talents, skills, and even to share their knowledge because they limit themselves to the person who they aren't. It's deception towards others that could lead to deceiving themselves. Some people are afraid to share what they could do with the whole world. Hypnosis can help with that. A little side note, hypnosis experts need to be licensed to practice hypnotism. In these cases, you have to be extra cautious since this is a serious medical process. I recommend doing a thorough research first about the person and the practice before you consider having hypnotism as your way to change your life in a positive way. Hypnotism is your own choice. In fact, you can never be hypnotized by anyone, no matter how experienced a hypnotist is. Sometimes cartoons make fun of hypnotism and give people the impression that others can control you, but hypnotism involves the mind or the intellect. Therefore, if you believe and your intellect is programmed to not be hypnotized, then you won't be. It's that simple. Hypnotism is powerful, but a person's intellect and will is more powerful. It always will be. Just imagine a sick person who gets well because he or she believes that he or she will. Wouldn't that be nice? You could be hypnotized if your mind is not ready for the process. But if you are not ready for it, then the mind cannot be controlled. This process can also be a great way to fool people who are innocent about it. Therefore, if you don't know anything about it, you have to learn essential facts about it now. Never let yourself be fooled by the people who use their hypnotism skills and knowledge to fool individuals. Because there are cons out there who want you to believe they have hypnotic skills when they don't. They find some actors who play along and they fool a crowd for the purpose of making money for a show. Chapter 3. Why NLP can work for self-help. The neuro-linguistic program can be a nice tool to help people get more self-confidence and to succeed in every venture. It is great training and it involves communication. Every person is different when it comes to attitude, limitations, and even skills and knowledge. Thus, there are those individuals who seldom show their own selves in public, and just prefer to limit themselves to very simple and boring lifestyles. But if they choose to go through a specific NLP training, they may realize how important they are and how they can better be themselves. Every person should set a goal to have clear and sound communication with others, probably with their friends and family, so that they realize the things they need to work out and the things that they need to get rid of. However, there are instances when someone can't be good in formulating great, concise, and clear words for communication. That's why they cannot afford to voice it. And this exactly answers the question why NLP works and helps people develop self-confidence. It is because of the fact that NLP training involves both human intellect and skills so that they can communicate well. There are times when a person feels that he is very good in talking to others and confident that he can use communication to extensively explain for his own self. But when it comes to his turn to say something, all of the words that are on his intellect or the words that he formulated ahead of his speech are gone with the wind. In this case, a person should get some NLP training. There are various types of NLP trainings. Therefore, you need to determine first which one suits you best. You are the only one who can determine which type of training you should attend to, since you are the only one who knows your limitations and skills. The two things that you should develop are discipline and honesty. To successfully do NLP training, you need those two qualities. It is understandable when people are shy, but if people like that ignore ways to overcome this, then they are likely putting themselves into the jail of life boredom. In this case, that jail they put themselves into means they cannot afford to explore and know themselves better because they have limiting beliefs. Once you think that you are this kind of person, then you better change now and attend NLP training as much as possible. It can greatly help individuals to explore and discover new things in them day by day through having enough and clear communication to people around them. It is always nice talking to different people. Remember that talking or having conversations with different people can lead you to both knowing and sharing things, which can also lead you to learning or having an idea of who you really are. Most individuals often say that they completely know themselves, but the truth is that every individual should not stop discovering various things about them as much as they are discovering facts and things in reality. This thing is unstoppable or limitless. In having NLP training, you should use your 5 senses, since it is also needed in communication, which plays a vital role in helping yourself achieve your goals. These days, people have to be smart about everything, and they should improve their skills in communicating with others. If you think that you can't, then you can at least do that via chat, mails, or emails, in which you can begin writing your thoughts. After that, you could try to talk about it, perhaps with the people you are fond of first, so that you can get used to it. Later on, you will just realize that you are halfway to your goals and you are very good at communication. NLP is one of the keys to everyone's success. In the next chapter, we'll discuss how it can help you overcome barriers. Chapter 4. How to use NLP to overcome barriers. Not only is NLP good for learning communication skills and setting goals, but also plays a role in overcoming mental barriers. There are times when people forbid themselves to speak or explain for themselves and prefer to just let other people judge them and say something for them. That's not how it should be. Except maybe in some authority circles where respect needs to be shown to someone of higher status. I've talked to people who used NLP techniques to walk on hot coals or do crazy stuff like that. The power of the mind is astounding. Their feet don't get burned, and they were able to completely shut off their pain senses. The fear of rejection is strong in a lot of people, and I have to admit that I am no exception. NLP explains that it is a fact that a person will not always receive praises when he speaks, and that should be accepted. Not everyone will like you. Sometimes a person needs to receive rejections, so he can further analyze his weaknesses. Feedback, even criticism is needed. But all fear it in one way or another, and that's a problem. For some reason, we often let other people in and take things personal even when they know nothing about us. Many people are also afraid to fail. This fact is quite explainable, since there is no one who will want failure in life. But if you look on the positive side of life, you will probably realize that a normal individual greatly needs failure to gain courage and guts to face all the challenges along their way. Neuro-linguistic programming further explains to people how they will have a mental setup so they can get the things that they wanted. At the same time, they could perfectly figure out how they will face or take failures in a way that can be helpful to them. This way, they can further avoid mental barriers that involve their confidence and courage to venture in the world that they want to be in. NLP can help with overcoming the fear of public speaking. A lot of people have reported to having done NLP, and after that, being completely calm when speaking to a crowd, meaning they could face a crowd and further speak for themselves without any barriers, not even mentally nor emotionally. It is explainable why some people are having a hard time in speaking for themselves, since they may have had previous experience that make their hesitations grow. With NLP, they face their fears and it helps them overcome them. Once you believe that you are facing those drawbacks in yourself, you can consider having NLP training, or you can at least do a thorough search about what this training and program is all about. This way, you can apply some of its principles on you in any case you prefer. Somehow, learning all kinds of facts all by yourself can be fairly beneficial considering that trainings and program participation nowadays are pretty expensive. However, this is not to suggest that you don't have to spend something in learning from the teachings of the principles of NLP. Of course, there are instances that you should still have to. The bottom line is that you have to search for the ones that can help you save money in learning from it. As much as possible, you will need guts, skills, and knowledge once you prefer to learn things by yourself. Now, if you think that you have those, then by all means, you can achieve almost everything that you want to achieve in life anyway, right? So you won't need NLP, but still, it can be helpful for those who are interested in it. It is all what it takes. Therefore, you still need to assess yourself whether you need NLP training or you can have it by yourself. Always keep in mind that if you want accurate assessments, then you must do it for your own self, since no one can assess the things for you but you, yourself. Chapter 5. Hypnotism in History. Hypnosis has been known to us for thousands of years. Historically, the practice of altering man's consciousness has been carried out by shamans, Wiccans, spirit mediums, and spiritual doctors for various reasons. Ancient civilizations in Egypt and Greece recorded that the fastest way to get in touch with the spiritual realm is through rituals that are similar to what we now call hypnosis, meditation, visualization, and drugs. Some of these may be ethical, others not. Experiences common to deep sleep, anesthesia, and the strength of the subconscious mind have been noticed in different religious documents, such as in the Old Testament of Christianity and in the Talmud of Judaism. Some accounts even say that many women were accused of being witches, and therefore they were burned at the stake because of their practice of cutting up women's bellies during difficult labor, in order to help the child get out of the womb. People related that the mothers felt relatively no pain during the operation, and the babies were delivered successfully, with the midwives solely using herbs and oils while uttering some comforting, soothing chant. This practice, or so they assumed, is one of the earliest known practices of what is now called delivery through cesarean operation, with the aid of hypnosis. In the modern world, hypnosis' first brush with science was known in the late 1700s through Austrian physician Dr. Franz Anton Mesmer, and the phenomenon that was named animal magnetism. Mesmer was convinced that through a mystical force channeled through water tubs and magnetic wands flowing from him to his subject, he can make people and animals go into a trance. He claimed to receive his mystical powers from magnetic waves. He lulled his subjects into submission by getting them to focus on a certain item, and by monotonous repetition, he mumbled certain words. This is where the word mesmerize, which we still use today to pertain to the act of being in awe and dumbstruck to a specific figure, was invented. But later in the studies of hypnotism, the concept of animal magnetism was dismissed. Abi Faria was a scientist in the 19th century, declared that the hypnotism practiced by Mesmer was not because of animal magnetism, but through the power of suggestion. Even more studies and experiments in controlling other people's minds followed throughout the years, but it was research launched in 1842 that was thought to be the turning point in the study of Mesmer's ideas. Scottish surgeon James Braid was one of the initial scientists to attribute the process of going into a trance to a physiological process. He thought that the state of trance was not caused by the magnetic power of the hypnotist, but by hard, rapt attention on a striking, moving object over time. As in that iconic clock necklace, a pendulum. Protracted ocular fixation, Braid believed, will make the brain exhausted and will cause the subject to be under what he called nervous sleep. Thus Braid coined the term hypnotism and hypnosis, based on the Greek word for sleep. Braid, with his contemporaries such as Ambroise Auguste Liébault, Hippolyte Burnham, and J.M. Charcot, later was drawn to the impact of psychological motivation in hypnosis rather than their early concept of fatigue and nervous sleep. They were also first ones to come across medical hypnosis, wherein they utilized hypnotism to treat different psychological and physical symptoms. Following the paths taken by Braid et al., more studies on the use of hypnosis in medicine followed, with better results this time, mirroring, through perhaps unconsciously, the practices of ancient doctors. New medicine began to carefully tread upon the use of hypnosis as anesthesia or painkillers. The world of medicine and physicians then had a strong distrust towards this method. This happened in 1842 when there was a report of a positive and painless amputation procedure with the help of hypnotism, but it was immediately dismissed. Nonetheless, pro-hypnotism medical professionals persisted in their studies. Dr. James Istali, a British doctor who practiced in India, performed nearly 400 pain-controlled operations with patients under hypnosis. Known as the father of hypnoanesthesia, Istali also integrated his Western education with the culture in India. Hand in hand with his medical practice, he also performed a drugless trance therapy traditionally from Bengal, India. Istali's cases listed eye, ear, and throat operations, amputations, and tumors and cancerous growth removals. Istali reported zero pain and/or death under his so-called mental anesthesia. What's more amazing is that after the surgeries, Istali further hypnotically suggested to his patients that their wounds would not result in any kind of infection or side effect. True enough, no one among his patients was reported to have caught any post-operation side effects. Many were of the opinion that the subconscious aspects of Istali's patients responded well to hypnotism. When Istali suggested that they would not be infected, their bodily functions acted accordingly and launched antibodies that would fight the infections. Soon, the death of Braid, Istali, and other kindred colleagues, plus the advancement of anesthetics through chemicals, waned the interest in hypnotism. Hypnotically hysterical. After hypnosis kept a comparatively low profile after Braid, hypnotism made a comeback in the 1880s, when new versions of his work were circulated. The revival also came with new experimentations, predominantly in the use of hypnosis in treating hysteria led by neurologist Jean Martin Charcot. Charcot and his later pupil Pere Janet treated several cases of mental conditions, but especially hysteria, through what they called disassociation. This technique applied on a large number of patients compartmentalizes some of the data stored in the mind so that aspects such as particular skill or a memory from the past can be hidden or retrieved. Considered landmark experiments at that time, these findings impressed and inspired later works of French psychologist Alfred Biot and the father of psychoanalysis, Sigmund Freud. In fact, Freud used the works of Charcot and another French doctor, Hippolyte Burnham, to strengthen the framework of his initial studies on the unconscious and hypnotism. Meanwhile, science has enriched layman's dictionary once again, since it was in this time that Ambroise Auguste Liébault coined the term rapport, meaning that critical and required consensus between the hypnotist and the subject for a successful hypnosis session. Today, we still use the word rapport to mean that pleasant communication connection between two parties, a certain similarity in wavelength. Hypnotism and war. A great weapon, a tactical device, an intelligence technique, and a medical tool. All these roles were said to have been taken by hypnosis during World War I and II. War trauma is common to soldiers who have faced the horrors of warfare. Hypnotism was used by doctors to help patients in letting go of their repressed memories and to eventually treat amnesia or other subsequent effects. This type of therapy also helps the patient alleviate emotional and mental pressures that came from the trauma. The powerful suggestion invoked by hypnosis was also used as a means to acquire military intelligence. For instance, classified information that has to be passed personally can be protected through the power of suggestion. In this case, the intelligence will be given to a soldier under hypnosis. After the information has been relayed successfully, the hypnotist suggests to the courier that he will not be able to remember a single detail about the message, which ensures that it remains a secret forever. Since hypnosis can be effective in altering the behavior of a person too, it was used as a strategy to infiltrate the enemy's ranks. G.H. Brooks, a physician who has worked with United States authorities in World War II, divulges in a medical journal that the behavior modification properties of hypnosis were useful in sending a deep penetration agent inside a communist territory. He also relates, "I worked this technique with a vulnerable Marine lieutenant I'll call Jones. Under the watchful eye of Marine intelligence, I split his personality into Jones A and Jones B. Jones A, once a normal working Marine, became entirely different. He talked communist doctrine and meant it. He was welcomed enthusiastically by the communist cells, was deliberately given a dishonorable discharge by the Corps, which was in on the plot, and became a card-carrying party member." Chapter 6. Can hypnosis bring back memories? Hypnosis won't make you any younger, but it can definitely make you feel and act younger. It may not take away pain, but it might fool around with your pain sensors, so that pain may virtually appear to be gone. For all the fallacies and myths surrounding hypnotism, there are still a number of things hypnosis can do that are good and have been scientifically proven to work. In general medicine, psychology, surgery, and dentistry, and even in the legal system, go figure, hypnosis has been known to help people gain a better understanding of their circumstances and themselves. Age regression. Wise men say, "Those who do not remember history are condemned to repeat it." Whatever you are now, the skills you possess, the ailments that bother you, may have something to do with your past. In regression, the person that initiates your hypnotism dips into a particular period in your life. For example, as you were still in kindergarten, this suggestion triggers you to seem to live out significant incidents in that period, because you are practically reliving the past. It will most likely happen that you think, talk, or act as if you were in kindergarten. Your therapist and you can then decide how a particular incident in that time period may have connection with a condition affecting you presently. Reliving a part of your past can help you recover some vital information, establish insights, or aid you to get to know yourself better and how to cope with the present circumstances. Tool for surgery. Painless surgery and dentistry have been tested and proven to be possible with just the help of hypnosis. Probably the most natural form of anesthesia. Mothers about to give birth, soldiers wounded in the midst of a battle, or children nervous of a tooth extraction have been helped by hypnosis as an anesthetic form of numbing them during procedures. During surgery, the hypnotized patient was reported to have remained calm and at ease. Post-surgery hypnosis is also known to aid in prevention of infection or to relieve discomfort or post-surgery pain. Increased recovery speed is also a known good side of hypnosis. In one case study, a research by psychologists, the said expert states the physicians had to graft skin onto a patient's badly damaged foot. First, skin from the person's abdomen was grafted into his arm. Then the graft was transferred to his foot. With hypnosis, the patient held his arm tightly in position over his abdomen for 3 weeks, then over his foot for 4 weeks. Even though these positions were unusual, the patient at no time felt uncomfortable. Behavior modification. Forcing someone to act like a chicken or bark like a dog is only the icing on hypnosis cake. There are other pleasant and useful cases wherein its ability to modify behavior is important. Mental patients who are troubled or anxious may be helped to be tranquil through hypnosis, rather than experiencing the side effects of sedatives or to be involuntarily coerced into submission through a straitjacket. On a long-term basis, hypnosis can be utilized as an essential part of treating psychological conditions like anxiety, depression, trauma, or phobias. Long-term therapy with the aid of hypnosis is also required in curbing problem habits such as smoking, taking drugs, eating disorders, sexual disorders, or dilemmas in socialization. Treating physical problems due to psychological factors. Many physical problems are linked to our psychological condition, given the direct connection of the brain and the nerve system to the separate process of the other parts and organs of the body. That's why some doctors believe that there is no other way to treat a physical condition more efficiently than to head directly to the brain, where all the activity is. Psychopsychology conditions are ailments of the body that can be rooted in complex psychological factors. Usually, a person who is vulnerable to a specific illness when faced with stress will most likely catch a psychosomatic illness. A medical definition often states that a psychosomatic illness equals a condition in which the state of the mind, psyche, either causes or mediates a condition of real, measurable injury in the body. Soma. Columbia Encyclopedia further comments that a psychosomatic disorder is an emotional disturbance that is manifested as a physical disorder. Like, for example, child asthma, ulcers, hypertension, endocrine disturbances, and maybe even heart disease. In most cases, the sickness happens only when both psychological predispositions and psychological stress are there. In this formula, predisposition pertains to your mental and medical history. Stress concerns with elements that make you feel worried or bothered, as well as an external stimuli such as domestic issues or problems in society, eventually trigger the onset of illness. These include death, conflicts, personal or social, emotional problems, and financial struggles. Other conditions that result from psychological stress are problems that affect vital organs like the heart, stomach, lungs, liver, and the nervous system, triggering the beginning of cancer, stroke, arthritis, multiple sclerosis, and pain. A typical script when using hypnosis as a form of aiding the treatment of psychosomatic illness is similar to other hypnosis techniques that are meant for altering or asserting a certain condition. At first, the hypnotist guides the subject into deep relaxation until that person's body and mind are completely calm. After that, the patient is admonished to imagine each part of his personality that is ill, physically and mentally. With the power of that imagination, there is hope. Using visual imagery that promotes well-being and lightness, the hypnotist says to the patient to ease away his pain, anxiety, and other thoughts that annoy him or her. The hypnotist can also identify every body part, noting especially the affected ones, and help the patient handle, overcome, or accept the pain in his or her own way. Legal aid. The mind's ability to store information is astounding and impressive. It can even act as a video camera that zooms in, pauses, fast forwards, or slow motions certain happenings from the past. The problem is that we tend to forget because however big its capacity, it is not limitless. It compartmentalizes and organizes our memory of things so it can accommodate more. This is where hypnotism comes in. Hypnosis helps a person store and retrieve applicable information that may have been rejected or neglected in standard everyday activities. Pinpointing critical data is most important in solving crime cases. Hypnosis has been used to help the witness and victims of crime figure out information from the crime scene. By intensively focusing through hypnosis on memories relating to the crime, a significant detail, a vital clue, or an element previously looked upon may aid in the investigation. Still, the police do not usually solely rely on hypnosis for solving their crimes, because even under hypnosis, the mind can be fragmented. The human brain is tricky, and people can be tricky as well. As we mentioned before, people under hypnosis could still decide for themselves. People under hypnosis may lie or prefer not to divulge a secret. Chapter 7. Shows. As with any other phenomenon in contemporary age, hypnotism has not escaped the glitter, glamour, and kitsch of commercialism. It's not really surprising that something as mysterious and interesting as hypnotism can turn into an entertainment show for money-making ventures. And of course, this is happening all over the globe. Still, this is not to say that stage hypnotists are not as honest as their counterparts in the clinical scenery. Professional stage hypnotists usually follow the same direction and techniques in hypnosis. They just tweak them to give their audience some entertainment value. The effect of their brand of hypnotism to their subjects isn't so much different either. People still act silly or ridiculous because it's their will to go along with the show, So in a way, you could say that they want to be actors, and they do it for that reason. As one stage hypnotist puts it, according to their suggestion, the subjects act and behave the way they think hypnotized people must do. So do you want to be a Vegas show hypnotist? Perfect timing, right pacing, and action-packed sequence are some of the many required elements in a truly entertaining show. Here are some tips that we received professionals of the trade. Collect and select. Almost every stage hypnotist initiates a pre-selection process prior to the show. These are not planted talents. The hypnotist actually calls out for volunteers from the current audience. So it's not all staged, but there is something to it. After a series of hypnosis exercises, the hypnotist determines who among them is the most susceptible and suggestible to hypnotism. For each level, he or she, usually a he, selects the highly suggestible ones and eliminates those he deems not ready or not open to let go. Thank you very much, sir, ma'am. You may take your seat now. This ensures a faster pace of the show, a more successful hypnosis rate, therefore, a more entertaining show. The hypnotist performs hypnotism exercises at different levels. Still, there are a number of conmen using rigged props or talents pretending as part of the audience. 12 minutes of fame. People are more or less attracted to the lure of the spotlight, if not confused by it. Getting people in the stage, in front of a big audience, increases the success rate of the hypnosis session. On stage, many people will find it difficult to resist to instructions compared to common situations. When on stage, people will feel obliged to behave like they are expected to. Therefore, they will think it is easy to follow and respond to the hypnotist's suggestion so as not to ruin the show. Once the atmosphere comes to this, the participants start to loosen up. The audience buys the act according to what is happening. This is enough for the hypnotist to take advantage of. All he has to do now is to direct the show. Cooperation is much easier if it is all part of a performance. Wash their hands clean. Going along with the idea that hypnotized people have absolutely no idea or control to what they are doing, subjects like it better to act out what is asked of them, no matter how weird or silly it might be. Once hypnotized, one may believe, or the hypnotist suggests one to believe, that he has no responsibility for the volunteer's actions. It's not really them who are acting like cats and meowing on the stage in front of dozens of people. Somebody is making them do what might have been embarrassing things. Be tricky. Bring out the fog machine. Turn on those bright lights. Let those glitters pour on. Don't shy away from sound effects either. Music for more ambience. Costumes and props for more atmosphere. It's a show, not just a spiritual thing. Once the show attains the aura of a cinema house, the audience, in automatic response of a moviegoer, will be readier to eliminate their disbelief. They will believe everything from the stage that is being shown to them. As in a fantastical and magical film, however irrational the story twist may be, the audience is ready and willing to negotiate within the story's universe and codes. Almost all stage hypnotists use stage tricks in order to achieve more jaw-dropping impact. The more complicated and dangerous the stage acrobats are, the better for them and their ticket sales. One common impressive stunt is suspending a person between two chairs and then letting somebody stand on that person's chest. The audience doesn't question the trick, but in reality, it's just an ingenious use of space, black cloth, mirrors, and yes, hypnosis. This has been Hypnosis, how to use NLP and hypnotic technique to get impressive results. Written by Norton Raven, narrated by Stephen Lowe. Copyright 2018 by Norton Raven. Production copyright 2018 by Norton Raven.